Welcome to Leave It on the Court. My name is Corey Randall.
My name is Mustafa.
So today's segment we'll be discussing what makes a coach a championship level coach. You have so many different coaches around the league who may just only be good during the regular season, or they only, may be great coaches with certain, personnel. But in your opinion, Mustafa, what makes a coach a championship level coach?
Coach. What makes a coach a championship level coach is I'll start with this. Being that emotional leader. I think that's very, very key, and I think is critical. Obviously, the X and O's, the ins and outs, and somebody who's personable.
Right.
Um, guys gotta feel like he wants to get to know them. He got their back, and he can be the emotional leader because a coach that's the emotional leader, when he speaks, people respect him, you know. And two, when things are going haywire or his team, doesn't seem mentally there, or they're not emotionally there, or they're getting caught up in maybe the trash talk of another team, or not getting foul calls, or just many different things that happen during the game. He's able to weather that storm and
Right.
bring that team back to where they need to be. I think is key, and this is something that was reiterated among guys the likes of Phil Jackson and
Hmm.
Pat Riley and other guys, and even fiery guys like Pat Riley, Red Auerbach. These are guys who were personable, but they also understood like what it took emotionally from a player standpoint, you
Right.
know. And one thing I would mention too, these guys are very creative. They're not
Yeah,
they're not
definitely.
they're not afraid to go out and make a play call that guys are like, what the hell are you doing? Like they're not afraid. Like they want to revolutionize the game. Red Auerbach, he was the guy who really bought the fast pace offense, the fast break offense. Um, you seen a Nick Nurse in the playoffs last year against the Bucks doing a boxing one. I haven't seen anybody do that. And these guys are not afraid to do it and take the flack for it. And I think that's what sets them apart. That's what really puts their names in the books. Once 10 years, 20 years goes by.
Right.
So what do you think?
Man, just touching base off of, all the points you made were great points. I think one of them, for me, piggybacking off what you said with a guy that is like an emotional leader, a guy that people respect. Those are coaches who they know how to put players in check, even the star players, because they know how to handle egos. They know how to kind of, in a way, groom these star players to kind of be that coach that's on the floor. Because obviously, the coach being on the sideline, you don't see everything, and you're not in the game as much to really know 100% exactly what's going on. You're gonna have to have some leader out there who can see certain things that you can't see.
Hmm.
And I also think, with Nick Nurse running that zone against Giannis, that was super smart move from a very like new coach to the NBA, because a lot of coaches are sheep. A lot of them are sheep. They
Yeah,
copy
I agree.
everything. They copy everything that other coaches do, and they don't think for themselves. They don't know how to really analyze like the personnel they have. Bro, in high school, for example, my coach, my senior year, I had a new coach, and he made us run the triangle offense. Like, we did not have the personnel whatsoever for that, and that just didn't
Hmm.
even make any sense. And that's a huge reason why we failed. And when you have coaches who don't know how to look at the talent that they have and use them to the best of their abilities, then that's where you're not that great of a coach, because you don't know how to integrate different people into the type of scheme that you have. That's what makes Popovich such a great coach. You got guys like Tony Parker. Nobody knew Tony Parker was going to be as good as he was, or anything, but they obviously saw something, and he's a Hall of Fame point guard. He's won a championship. He's won a few championships. He's the MVP of one of them. You got a guy like Larry Brown, who I like a lot. He knows how to deal with certain group of players. Like none of them are the best players necessarily in the league, but he knows how to put them in position of success. That's why he's also successful at SMU,
Hmm.
and he was with the Pistons. He was even with AI, and that's what separates a lot of coaches from others.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Yeah, and a lot, just like you mentioned, Larry Brown. Like I've heard so many good things about him, especially as far as like behind the scenes, how well he knows the game and how he teaches the game. Like that's important. Teaching the game. Like we brought up in another segment not too long ago. You gotta teach guys, man, because you guys coming with different play. They come from different playing styles.
Hmm.
Guys adapt bad habits. You know, like whether this is off the court or on the court. You gotta be able to teach and to mentor guys. You know, like you can't
Yeah,
expect a guy to just come in, know the nuances, know how to play. It's just a total different game because like you just have to have things, a lot of things in line, a lot of things intact for things to work well for you. You
right.
know. Um.
And
Yeah. Go
and you
ahead.
have and you have a lot of coaches who will preach, for example, preach defense a lot, and it's like to me as a coach, like you said, if you're gonna bark out orders on what your team should do, you have to be a teacher. These guys are supposed to be technically be students of you because you're
Mm-hmm.
you know you're a role above them in the organization. So if you're gonna tell guys, oh, you need to play D, you need to be able to teach them where to go. You need to teach guys that are playing man, teach them how to be in help, where they should be in certain situations, and the same thing in zone, knowing how to be in certain areas around the floor. And I feel like a lot of coaches don't do that. They don't do enough teaching. They just say, "Oh, well, these guys, they're at the pro level. They just know everything, and everybody must just figure it out." It doesn't work that way. Some guys
Yeah.
who just don't understand.
Well, yeah, one thing you just said about like being in the right place at the right time, man. Timing is everything, and you gotta know from personnel to personnel. You may have to work differently with one guy or two guys, and then work with the rest of the group as far as timing and being in certain areas in certain times for defensive rotations. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like some guys are not gonna be that athletic, that fast, maybe that strong. But if you put them in the right position in the right time, and you allow them to play smart, they're gonna make the right decisions, and it makes a total difference in your defense. Like it does. One guy. A guy doesn't have to steal the ball all the time. Doesn't have to get block shots. Doesn't even have to be known as the best defender. But if he can push, a player away from the basket, or if he can push a player towards the help defense, or if he little things like that, they show because it make your better defenders or your more athletic players look better. When they're all in sync. A lot of times coaches have problem with that, like especially like closing out three point shots, which is like if you cannot do that today, man, you're gonna suffer.
Right.
Because the league is predicated on 3-point shooting now. You got guys 7 feet throwing up shots from 36 feet out, man. Like, so you got to be able to guard that shot, whether from 1 to 5. So it's like,
Right.
how are you gonna say, okay, a good coach is gonna, all right, how's my big man gonna contest his shot without getting the foul? He's not used to being out there. Not all of them. Some of them, have that capability, like your Al Horfords or maybe a Joel Embiid or Giannis. Those guys, they have comfort being out there, but not every guy. So it's like you have to teach. All right, how was this big guy? How is he gonna close out?
Right.
How's my guards gonna close out? So those are big things, big keys. Even like on the offensive end, how to cut and how to work within the flow of the offense, how to set the proper screens. You know, how to give your point guard pointers of how to work hand in hand with the big man because that's big too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just being able to pick spots, putting guys in position of success and just knowing how to use them. That's another thing that Nick Nurse has done well, with Nick Nurse being like the Toronto Raptors still being high in the East and still being contenders without Kawhi.
Yeah.